So hello and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We are going to be bringing you all of the action here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. And of course, we've got another great route for our riders. We've been out and Russ has been looking through the archives for some of those routes that maybe are a little bit different, little bit unusual, and that's definitely what's coming up over the next couple of weeks. And tonight is definitely one of those. We've got a tough route, a very fast route, and one which is going to require a lot of control. And the man charged with controlling the route is the one and only Fonzie Downing. It is Russ down in the bed. Now, Russ should be on the line very shortly indeed. Let's see if we can get hold of him. So let's see if the man, the bear, Fonzie Downing, the one and only, the legendary Brompton rider over bridges, is online. Russ, how are you doing?
I'm better than when I had to ride that crazy bike.
There's nothing wrong with the Brompton, let's face it. It's always good fun being out on one of those. I'm not sure I want to ride it down Pot Bank, though, which is, I presume, what you just come down at that point.
Yeah, we did a full, I think we did a full lap of the circuit, in that series. It was some YouTube Sigma thing that we did, and Matt just threw it at me and said, there you go, I've never unfolded a Brompton or anything. I was like, right, yeah, that's me then. So,
excellent.
Yeah, it's all good fun.
And, well, today, a little bit different. I'm presuming you're on a Pinarello tonight rather than a Brompton, and hopefully something with some lightweight wheels, because it's quite a hilly route, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm on the new, depends what we're talking here. We're talking IRL or actually in the game. I'm actually on the new F in the game, and then I'm currently sat on my Wahoo kicker bike at the minute. So yeah, that's best of both worlds.
Definitely the best of both worlds, and that's what we want to see now. I think we've got quite a large number of riders coming tonight, in part because it's pretty Baltic out there, just coming from outdoors, and it's pretty chilly, and I think this could well be the start of the run into autumn for a lot of people jumping on the bike. I mean, we're coming towards August bank holiday not too long, so it's bound to get a little bit grim, isn't it? However, I think we've got one or two star riders with us tonight.
Yeah, talking about the weather, it is a bit outside earlier and it's horrendous. But yeah, hopefully we haven't seen the last of the sun. But we'll jump online by all means, and yeah, we'll have a great workout, and yeah, we should have a good few riders. Matt Bastock's on here. He crashed in the Tour Series, breaking his finger, so I hear. So he'll be on recovery mode, but I'm sure he'll still give us a good thrashing.
I was going to say, even with a broken finger, I'd imagine that he can give everybody a hard time out on the route around Yorkshire. And this is the reverse loop, isn't it? Let's face it. It's the opposite direction to the one that was raced. It means that we go out on the smaller circuit first and then onto the bigger circuit. And hopefully, if everybody takes the easy start off with, it shouldn't break too soon. But then we hit coming up Pot Bank and round onto the big hills, then things start to get a little bit trickier.
Yeah, as you explain it there, I can hear the tone in your voice. You're saying that it's slightly easier, and I think it is from the start, but then it gets hard at the end. But we'll see. It is a tough old circuit. Everyone knows it. Yorkshire ain't easy, is it?
Well, as the saying goes, it ain't easy. It's the Donny Chaingang, and talking of not easy, I guess you're going to be giving the instructions to the troops, so we'll let you crack on with that, Russ, and we'll catch up with you shortly.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I'll dish a few more orders out and see what's happening. But yeah, what we've got on now, we've got like 65 riders, so it should be a nice night. And yeah, let's keep it calm for a lap and a half or something. Then yeah.
Then let's see what happens. Good luck with that one. Cheers, Russ.
Good, mate.
So great to catch up with Russ, and let's head across to the map and show you just what we've got in store. As you can see, we have the Harrogate Circuit Reverse. Now, this is the standard chain gang circuit that we use in the opposite direction. We now use it this way around as well. And actually, the last time we used this was way back in October. Now, as you can see from our little blue dot heading out and around, It is a tricky little circuit. Now we have a lead in of effectively 0.0 kilometres. We come out of the pens and on to the circuit. We then come from the big circuit pens into the little circuit, going round both the big and the little circuit in an anti-clockwise direction. Ignore the sprint, ignore the KOM, because we're not going to be bothered about those today. Key to this is having a nice steady rollout at a couple of watts per kilo, with the first lap no more than 2.5 watts per kilo maximum. Now the aim is to head out and round, drop down through the river and up towards Struggle Corner, and that is the roundabout top left hand side of the screen. There's a blue dots there now. Drop down in towards Potbank, up to the top and back in on the long roller coaster road. Now 3 laps of this is 41.4k. We're going to finish at the World's Gantry in the main part of Harrogate itself, and we're going to come at it in the opposite direction. So there's a sharp left hand turn, and it's about 500 or so metres before the finish. Warm down to the blue banner is 1.6k, so not too bad, but the hilly circuit, it is very, very hilly. 3 lots of 240 metres. That's 720 in total. And that means that Russ will have his work cut out on the front, and Vin Donoghue is likely to have his work cut out at the back. But if anybody can school everybody in the right place at the right time, I would imagine Vin is the man. Let's jump across to the profile from the Zwift Hacks map to the Velo Viewer profile. Now, we always keep these the same scale in terms of height, so you can see just how hilly this is. We start towards the left-hand corner. In fact, just about where it says minus 4.82 metres, directly above the Powered by Strava decal on the screen. We drop down from there towards the right-hand side, and then we make our way up from there, and we work our way around the little circuit, then up towards the reverse KOM, dropping right the way down to the low point on the course. That's the river crossing at the very bottom of the descent. Up then to the Struggle Corner, that's the right hand side of your screen, and then drop down to Potbank, which is in the red because it's basically steep and horrible, and then up to the top, and then the roller coaster back down, basically the long fast descent down, kick her over the top, and then run down into town. So it's critical today that our riders keep everything together. I know 1 or 2 people just struggling out from the blocks at the moment, but big number of riders on the chain gang tonight, so it's going to be very busy. Let's take a look across at the riders. I think they're just making their way out of town and just heading down towards that little circuit. So as you look across on your screens over there, you can just see Russ in that big pillar of light on his way down, and Russ just making his way down the circuit. If we pull up the stats for Russ, well, you're going to see that we have, if we can not lose the graphics, it's always quite important not to lose the graphics on the way through. So we'll pull up the stats for Russ, and Russ at the moment with 160 watts per kilo, dropping to 30 and back up again. He's just trying to hold everything together, and just taking that right hand turn up onto the first of the little climbs on the way up and around there. So Russ at the moment kicking at 100 watts, 74 beats per minute, revving at 90 beats per minute, 0.8k covered, and as you can see on the map, pretty much everybody together. Looks like 1 or 2 riders, and the red beacon still just fighting to get back in touch. So it's all going to be about getting back closer together. So let's take a little bit of a look at the man in the red. It is going to be Vin Donoghue, and looks like Daryl and Neil from the Crosscast. Currently just is little, the 2 of them very competent riders. So let's have a little bit of a check back and see if Neil can make his way back in. So let's join them live here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne, as we head out round Yorkshire on the Yorkshire Harrogate Circuit Reverse on the Donny Chaingang on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. So it looks like we've got Martin Boltvin, Donahue, Shelley Charles, Neil from the Crosscast, and Daryl Tashill-Waller just off the back of the group at the moment, chasing hard here to get themselves back in touch as we head out and round. We're on that little circuit at the moment on the climb up towards what is the sprint line. You can see Daryl Tashill-Waller just coming past here on that Tron bike at the moment, in the orange Tron bike, and just pushing those watts up, currently 130 beats per minute, and just in front of Neil here. So at the moment you can just see these riders just trying to push back on. They've got to get the gap down, though. They can see in front. They're coming up on Shelley Childs here, and I think Shelley just dropping back to give them a hand. I think Martin Bolt has been pulled in there by our red beacon. So the red beacon pulling Bolty up into the group. I think Briggs just dropping back a little bit here just to try and give everybody a hand. Just Saysal just up the road, but here they come. And I think they're going to make their way up into that main group. If we zoom in top right hand corner of your screen, you'll see that we are pulling back in towards them. Daryl Tashill-Waller just dropping off the back. Let's see. I guess on there it looks like Shelley Charles has been outrunning. Not the wisest of moves before a Donny Chaingang, that is for sure. So just keeping an eye on Vin. So Daryl, if you're watching, I know you're regularly watching live. Daryl will regularly be dropping off the back and going quickly up to the front. So we don't always wait for Daryl, it has to be said. He's known as somebody who will be able to sprint his way back on again. There are certain riders who we know who are likely to go off the back. Kieran Smith being one of them, as we watch the riders now up on to the section running in towards the sprint here. So as we zoom our map across, you're just going to see our riders coming around this corner. And as they do, that sprint line comes very, very quickly indeed as they head around the turn. The sprint not contested on the chain gang. Don't need to. There's enough hard work going to be happening up near the end of the ride. So it looks like Vin Donahue just pushing his way up in and through those riders. Kieran Smith just dropping back a little bit. And as you can see, really busy out on the back of the chain gang with everybody trying to squeeze up into those gaps. So some nice moves there by the riders back, just getting their way into the group and working well together at the moment. So it looks like Daryl Tashill-Waller just dishes a little here. Looks like Bobby Mason with a bit of a drop out there. So Mason on 0 watts per kilo. That's going to be a drop out. Kieran Smith just sitting on Donahue's wheel. So it is Daryl just doing a warm up. I think Bobby, you need to jump out and rejoin me because that's a proper full on drop out there for Bobby. So Vin, I wouldn't be waiting for him. That is for sure. You just see this group at the moment just motoring on at the moment. Daryl is going to be pushing on very, very quickly indeed. So Daryl Tashill-Waller just warming up. Looks like Vin Donahue just making sure his legs are working nicely. Kieran Smith on his way. Looks like Mr. Ferron pushing up in with the group as well. So Bobby going to hopefully be dropping out and jumping back in again. Let's take a jump in with Keith Richardson. He's just ahead of Sean Ferron and the gang. Our camera trying to get up in front of him as they drop down in towards this turn. You can see very quick descent here and up on to the climb, and Richardson carrying plenty of speed in as he moves up towards Russ's wheel at the moment, and it's about carrying that momentum through there. It's the fastest way to get it quickly in with the gang. And just seeing Mr. Osmond, so Russell Osmond here, just pushing his way back into the group. Finn hovering around the back. It looks like Ted again, just keeping an eye on proceedings back here. Eddie Dench. Eddie, a very fast ride the other day, heading out and round on one of his circuits. So he seems to be putting in a fair few miles. Just keep an eye on this. So the aim here to keep nice and smooth. We're on our way up towards the top of the KOM. That's not going to be all that far away. If we zoom the map out, it's on the top corner as we do the next sharp right-hand turn and head down hill once again. It's quite a long drag up here. Looks like some of our regulars back in here. Good to see Ian Taylor in the group. So Ian, of course, the man behind the 1080, the Oakley promotions, nicely in here, and looks like a change of kit for Mr. Taylor, although he's still on his Tron bike in there. So Ian Taylor back in, and of course a pair of Oakleys on as well. Don't forget, if you're a member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang, if you donated and been accepted as a member, then don't forget big discounts, extra and above everything else within the best Oakley store in the land.com, as far as I'm concerned anyway. All right, let's take a little bit of a look. Looks like Rich Orrell up in the group. Mick Clark is in here from the Donny Chaingang, as well as the rest of the Bolsover Club. Let's just take a quick look. It looks like Mr. Taylor back in the gang. We just seen Mr. Bostock in here. So Matt, of course, one of our regular riders, one of our regular pro riders on the Chaingang. And, of course, the rider riding for the Canyon DHB Blawhomes squad, looking super smooth here. 133 beats a minute, 80 revs per minute. And good to see Matt back with us on the Chaingang. And we are expecting all the pros basically to return one way or another at some point over the winter. Always good to have them with us, and they know how to play the game to ride nice and smoothly in with the gang. Looks like Gareth Mason is in here. Speaking of pro some things, I'm not quite sure what, because Mason, of course, been riding very, very quickly. Interesting that he's gone for a full-on lightweight bike. He's got the Specialized in the red and grey with those lightweight wheels and that all-black kit there. And he is definitely going for what is one of the lightest options. So it looks like he's riding, got the bike selected for his weakness rather than his strength. You might pay for that on the downhill run into the finish, but you've got to be in it to win it, and maybe he feels that he needs that level of equipment to do that. Good to see Koos looks in here, another man who's been having some fantastic rides. So it looks like Daryl has rejoined just in the middle of the group. He's actually in front of you. He's not behind you, Vin. He's in front. Carl Kaplitzky's in here. Good to see Carl in here. So Carl riding with the map at top and the Downing Cycling kit on that Pinarello on the F at the moment. And looks like he's got those lightweight wheels in here. So let's take a quick check down the gang here. So Bobby Mason at the moment just pushing his 47 seconds down. So Bobby, when you rejoin, give it a massive kick just as it's about to rejoin, and it'll put you in right near the front. If you aren't kicking hard the moment that you join, then you get in somewhere a little bit further. That's Tim Leary, Ted in here. Bobby, you've still got time to jump. I would jump back out, jump back in with a serious kick on those pedals, because that's going to be a big ass to jump back in when the rest of the gang now on this fast descent. So key is, if you're out, jump out, log back in again. But when you log back in, the moment it says it's going to take you back into a ride, kick like heck on the pedals. You'll come back in near the front. If you are on the pedals taking it easy, it will drop you back in at the back of the group. The key is to be right on the right on the pedals as hard as you can when you're going in to the group to join late. Join that way, you'll join near the front, not near the back of the group. Okay, so Shelley Charles in here. Shelley, of course, dropped early on, quickly back in with the group. Mr. Langmead in the gang. Mason's right up here. Looks like Carl Johnson in here. Good to see Rob Wimble in the team once again. So Rob back in action in that orange and white and black, and nicely coordinated with the bike as well. If only it was so coordinated in real life, eh? Let's have a little look. It looks like Andy Hawes is back again. Of course, Andy out on the road on the Tour of Britain, running from the very bottom of the country all the way up to Aberdeen. And looks like Andy quickly into his stride. And hopefully, Mr. Hawes, you're back home once again. Good to see Dan Ladle's back in with us. Dan, another of our regular riders through the winter, back and riding strongly again, going for a fairly aero bike there, just looking to get the pace. And yeah, it is true, Andy has actually made it home. James McLeod's in, so James just rolling on the front at the moment, just easing those pressure off. You just see dropping it to 1.9, and Mr. Tukey doing the same, just rolling the pressure off those pedals, which is what we want to see. Try and keep that gang together for as long as possible. We are losing bodies off the back. Not too badly, but see one or two riders behind. Let's take a little bit of a check back. So Tim Leary on this climb up, we're out from the hairpin turns. Mr. Mason also doing the same. He's out from the very steepest section, coming up onto the top of the climb. It's going to be a big ask to get back, even though Bobby's putting out some serious hammer here. So Darryl just dropping back and taking another bit of rest. I think Tim is for a 10k easy, so Mr. Bolt just having to squeeze onto the back here. Looks like Keith Richardson doing his usual traditional role, which is just patrolling the back and trying to bring as many people on as fast as possible. And it is always a lot easier if you have some assistance back there. So Martin's there, Vin Donohue's there, Chris Darby in the back. Looks like Tom Elliott is in here. Tom, another of our riders, becoming a real regular on the Donny Chaingang, and good to see Tom in here. So Tom currently keeping it nice and smooth, 111 beats per minute, 95 revs per minute. So looks like Daryl Tatchell-Waller is dropping back for Bobby Mason. What an absolute star, this man, because look at the Bobby, he's giving it some serious beans here. And this is going to be one heck of a chase here. So the mission is on. It has been set. If you choose to accept it, can you go back, help Daryl Tatchell-Waller and Bobby Mason to get back on again? Right, we got our first taker. It's in the shape of the Fat Cyclist. It looks like he's dropping back. He's going to try and give Daryl a hand and Bobby Mason a hand to get back on again. So that is going to be this man dropping back. It's going to be Mason. It looks like Vin Donohue's accepted the challenge. Keith Richardson accepting the challenge to drop back. So that's now going to be 6 riders dropping off the back of the group. Are we going to get any more? Is young Mr. Ketteringham going to drop back, or Kieran Smith, the more of the gang going back? So it looks like Andy Hawes coming back for his pal as well. So the front sticks to the plan. The group at the back will drop back and try and give them some assistance. And this then means that the riders can get it all together. Now, Bobby just coming up to Struggle Corner, known because it's the HQ of our friends over at Struggle, Matt and Victoria, based up on the top corner of the circuit. And now the gang are going to see if we can get Daryl Tatchell and Bobby Mason in. So let's have a little bit of a look. So Donahue, Richardson, Mason, Leary dropping to give Tatchell-Waller and Bobby Mason a hand here. The gang at the front just taking it steady and just easing off. So this is going to be one heck of a team coming back for Daryl here. Daryl just keeping the pressure on those pedals, just trying to keep Bobby in his slipstream on the way back. So this is where the gaps are going to come down, hopefully, on this run down here. Now it is a quite a good run in now for the riders. They run down this big descent and up on to the next climb, and if they can push right into the base of this next climb, they're going to come up very quickly indeed. So dropping down at pace, they carry that pace into the climb. Looks like Goddard and Bostock at the back of that pack, just taking it in. So Gonna see just how they come on. So it looks like that yellow beacon you can just see just compressing up onto the steep section of the climb. The gaps are coming down. Let's take a quick look up in front because they can see them coming, and look at the pace here. So you've Darrell Tatchell-Waller, Bobby Mason. Now they've got connection with Richardson. Richardson kicks up 3 there now. Let's see. Are we going to get onto a 4 as Rusney gets tipped off the back of the bike? He's up onto the steep section of the climb. Oh, you can see just how evil it is. You hit it and boom, it really does make life difficult as you come onto that climb. And you can see the pace that Mason was catapulted into that group. So Bobby Mason now in at the back of the pack, and you can see the gang in front. This is what we want to see. So Mr. Leary, our next man, who's just going to have to just keep pushing, mate. It is really, really nasty stuff. This, if you've got a big old percentage up on your turbo trainer, you're going to feel it as you come up here. Mason now sitting with Andy Hawes here, back of the group. Remember, if you're at the front, you need to be taking it steady over the top. So Jeff Cecil in here, Taylor's in here, Darrell Tatchell-Waller's in here, Kieran Smith in the group, Keith Richardson, Andy Hawes and Bobby Mason just a little bit further back with Mr. Leary. Just really is feeling the pressure at the back there now. He's at 2.8 watts per kilo, but on this slope that is really, really hard to get up. It's 14% and it's 15% in its steepest. The main section of that climb averages out at about 13%. You can just see it really does make the riders work hard to keep the gang together. So some great riding by the gang there, and look at this, is what we want to see. All of that group pretty much all back together here. Our helicopter's just going to drop down to so the back now going to squeeze up towards the front, and we're going to have a little bit of a check at the back. So I think the one rider we've lost is Mr. Leary, who's currently doing a steady 10k. So good stuff, Tim. Don't forget, keep pedaling nice and smoothly, and this hill, it does eventually end, and if you've never ridden it in real life, it is a complete and utter, well, we'd need a bleep machine if I started describing it. I personally detest it going up it. Down it, it's quite hairy. Up it, definitely horrible. Right, let's jump up to the back of the gang, and looks like Mr. Henderson just at the back. Come on, mate. Keep pushing to get into the back of the gang. Don't let the gaps open up. We're going to jump in with young Mark Ketteringham. Good to see Mark back in with us here. It's always nice to get messages. Steve Cannon can't make it, and Mr. Cannon also not making it tonight, saying good luck everybody. Thank you very much for the messages, guys. Always good to have them. So Ketteringham just pushing at the back here. Let's have a little look. Just seeing the team, just keeping an eye on everybody behind. Mr. Finney in here. Russ just rolling not too far up as it looks like. We're just seeing Martin Bolt just taking a little bit of a distance between him and the main group. The same, I think, for Henderson and Tom Lindley is in here. So Tom, if you didn't know, just suffered with COVID, just got COVID recently, and it's taken its toll on him. Don't go too hard, mate. Just take it back, come back nice and easy. Plenty of time. So Matt Bostock rolling around by the yellow beacon. Mr. Richardson doing the same. Mr. Crehan in there. Looks like Carl Kopinski, AD Degel, the usual gang. Lone Riders in here. Andy Verrill is back. Good to see Andy back on the chain gang. Andy Verrill, of course, one of the main men when it comes to having riders out and riding on the continent and doing the business. So let's have a little bit of a look behind these gang. It looks like we've got a few people just distanced a little bit. This is a long run down into town at the moment. So let's take a little bit of a check back towards where Martin Bolt is. Martin's only about 3 seconds off the back of the gang. Come on, Martin, time to push. Looks like Henderson just a second in front. I think Richardson again coming back. Richardson, I tell you, this man needs a medal. Might have to get a special one forged just for Keith Richardson. Always rolling back to look after the riders at the back, to give them a hand to get back on to the group. As we're into the roller coasters, we've got another kicker now coming up towards the high point on this section of road. As you come through the speed limit signs, you know that you're coming into town. Just see the red beacon there just starting to put the pressure on the pedals. Darrell Waddler doing the same there as we see Martin Bolt onto the back of the gang. Looks like Simon Runner in there as well. Go on, Martin, get on those wheels. Don't let that gap go. And this is the nature of the course. Really, really hard. If your threshold is somewhere in there, near the pace that is required on the flat, what you find is the moment it goes uphill, you're going to start to struggle. If you are on the front, it feels easy, and over the top you go nice and quick. So the front will need to ease as it goes over the front. The back of the group continues to push in here, and as you can see, the blob just starting to reform, and they need to get it back together before they go over the crest of the hill. The moment that you go over the crest, that is when things start getting a little bit scary. Just in with Phil Ozike at the moment, who's continuing to keep nicely in this group, as is Carl Johnson. Taylor's in here, Tomlinson in with the group nicely, Eddie Dench in here, Trevor Crehan just sitting on the back here. If we take a look back from Trevor, you can just see the gang behind. Looks like Mr. Bostock just helping out with Martin Bolt, Darrell Tatchawalla, Vin Donahue, Keith Richardson, the usual suspects. Looks like Mr. Jeffries just at the back there, just giving a hand. So the group, the red beacon, having to squeeze on once again. We said that Vin would have his work cut out tonight, and we definitely weren't kidding. So don't forget the Donny Chaingang brought to you on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel, and we bring it to you thanks to all of the guys who are members of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. The Donny Chaingang Supporters Club is how we keep the wheels rolling on Zwift, how we keep the show on the road. And if you're a member, basically to become a member, you need to donate either monthly or yearly. We have a block subscription for September, October, November, December. If you're not a member, you can do it in one go, one hit. And if you make that donation, then unless you are somebody who has managed to get themselves banned from the chain gang, which is only literally 1 or 2 people, or if you're somebody who is looking to rip everybody's details like a spam bot, you won't get in. However, other than that, everybody gets in to the gang, and then we make sure that we get you all of the links. You get the links direct to your inbox. You get them before anybody else. You get a whole load of discounts as well, with 20% off for OTE. We have special edition offers when that goes up slightly more as well. We have an extra 10% over and above anybody else off Oakley's, courtesy of 1080. We have, of course, Halo Wheels supporting with a 10% discount all the time, and specials as well. Watch out as we run into the autumn. Anyone who was here through last autumn will no doubt remember Halloween of last year. Well, the good news is it's coming back this year once again. Don't forget, of course, we also have discounts on Velaskin as well as Gritty clothing, and I know that Caroline's eager to see everybody back on the gang in the winter, and Caroline, of course, out and racing at the National Mountain Bikes series over the course of the weekend, and seeing Sarah Grimshaw, another of our regulars on the Donny Chaingang. So make sure you join if you have the ability to spare a few pounds. It goes into the cost and helps Ross and I keep the show on the road. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't pay for everything by any stretch of imagination, but it does mean that it doesn't cost us too much over the course of the year, which is fantastic, and we love doing it. Russ and I have been doing this since the very first lockdown in COVID, and really looking forward to continue to bring the action, but we can't do it without the support of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, so make sure you join up. If you want those links, if you want to get them before anybody else, if you don't want to go through the hassle of having to join every single ride individually, and it works out from as little as £2 to £2.50 a ride, depending on how many rides there are in the month. Really simple. The easy way to think of it is you could easily have spent that and you'll get more than it back on things that you get a discount, things like OTE, performance, fuel, Oakley's, clothing, coffee, of course, from Grand Tour Coffee as well, and Velaskin chamois cream, which is obviously essential when you're up on the bike. Now, the gang rolling together through Harrogate here, looking nice and smooth, going back out again just past the traction engine there, and just going out onto this second circuit once again, and just see the group still sitting pretty much together. One or two riders now distanced off the back here, and Bostock at the moment just sitting at 2 to 3 seconds, just on his way back, as is Daryl Tattershaw-Waller. Mr. Jeffries is doing the same. Jeffries has young Mark Ketteringham with him for company. It looks like the Red Beacon has established a group here with Bolt and Donoghue. Now, Richardson is sat in here, and I think Richardson will want to push up to the group in front. Depends on what sort of training he's doing. And of course, Mr. Leary out for a smooth 10k. Well, he's doing well, and at the moment, more than 10k done up for Mr. Leary. So well done, buddy. Just coming up towards the top. Probably going to do one lap. That's a very popular thing. So let's have a look. Let's see if Mr. Richardson is going to make his way back in to the group. I think just starting to put the pressure up there. He's got the signal from Vin to go. So let's see if Richardson, with his own private go, can make his way up to the group. He's got 29 seconds to go. That is going to take a bit of doing. He's on the little circuit, though, so it's not impossible. He's got a couple of riders in between, so Richardson, after going back to help people, now in a little bit of trouble here. He's sandwiched about 30 seconds off the main group. So Richardson now trying to push. Jeffries just up the road. He's got Ketteringham with him. It looks like Daryl Tattershaw-Waller just into the back of the pack now. Jeffries and Ketteringham just working their way onto the back, as just at the point where the numbers have gone up through the roof here. So it's 3 watts per kilo, 3 watts per kilo on the front end. Looks like Vin's just going to come up, burn a match or two, as the saying goes, to help Mr. Donoghue get back on again, to say thank you here. So looks like this is our dynamic duo chasing at the back. Donoghue's going to try and get Richardson on, and then he's going to go a little bit pear-shaped, I think. Let's see if he can pull Keith onto the back of the group. Keith responding to try and stay on that wheel as he come up this drag here. The gap is coming down. Is it going to come down enough? We're heading into a fold on the map, so don't believe the times. It's a lot less than it shows on the screen at the moment, and I think we are going to see Richardson get this gap down. Donoghue's working so fast here. Hardy's almost distanced Richardson now, so it's going to be a big ask here for Richardson to get back on. He's going to need some assistance, but at the moment, everybody far too scared to jump out. Looks like Greg Pillsworth not jumping out from the gang at the moment. Looks like Street in here, just keeping tabs nicely on the back of the pack here. Mr. Conley in this group, like me, just letting the gap open and maybe just a little bit here, and just keeping an eye. Looks like Crehan is just dropping back there for Keith Richardson. Let's see if Mr. Crehan can pull Mr. Richardson back on again. Looks like Mason is doing the same as well. Meanwhile, Mr. Bolt will no doubt have the company of Vin very shortly. So let's just see Vin coming up onto Richardson again here. Just trying to get him up that last little bit here. So here we go. Big push here as Greg Pillsworth sees them coming. Greg, time to hit the gas, mate. So Greg Pillsworth now hitting the throttles. He's going to take over from Vin Donahue. Donahue's done his job. He's going to drop back. Now it's going to be for Mason. Looks like Rob Wimble's doing the same as well here. So Wimble is going to be working with him. So now Wimble, Mason. Pillsworth take over with Richardson to bring him back on to the gang here. Rob having to put a big kick in. Pillsworth's doing the same here, and everybody now trying to bring back Richardson. Richardson got back to help people and was stranded in no man's land. He's got to get back on. Remember the group at the front now doing 3 watts per kilo. They're on this very fast run down the go around that U-turn and up on to the climb. And if the rear riders here, these 4 can keep pushing here, they really, really have to move. So here we go. Pushing really, really, really hard. And it looks like this is going to be tough stuff. Looks like Shelley Charles just dropping back to give him a hand here. So come on, Shelley, time to kick now. Shelley up at 11.5 watts per kilo, 11.9 I've just seen from Shelley as he jumps back into putting this gap back in this group. It's another fantastic chase on here on the Donny Chaingang as Matt Bostock relays just how many pieces he's got to his finger. It's got more than that in terms of riders bringing the gang back on here. So here we go, the chase on happening at the back here. Looks like Richardson. Come on, mate. Come on, Keith. Get in the back of that pack here. Not far to go. So Keith moving it hard here, trying to get it. He's only 3 seconds off the back of the gang. He's got to keep pushing here. He needs to get into the back of this gang. There's Osmonds there. Looks like Kerr just rolling around the rear of this group. Mr. Crease at the back of the group as well. So looks like the gang almost all back together again. 1 or 2 people now are looking for the bus. So Mr. Leary on his way round. He is a little bit further back. So Mr. Richardson saying thanks there. Good stuff, Keith. So we take a look now. Looks like Street just distanced off that main group here. He's going to be seeing Vin Donahue and Martin Bolt on the way. And if you wonder why people are going back for Keith, it's really simple. I think that is all about getting back into the gang. And the amount of work that Keith does bringing people on, he's always got plenty of people wanting to help him out. So Vin just rolling his way in. Street just currently at about 18 seconds off the gang, but I think he's going to struggle to get back in at that pace. The gap has gone. Donahue has got Bolt not too far behind him. Meanwhile, in the main part of the gang, let's jump back in with Russ. Russ on this climb up towards the turn, and he's going to be on the drop down. Let's see if we can jump in with our yellow beacon. We'll see if we can get hold of Russ. Let's hope so. He's in theory somewhere out on the in the middle of this bunch. At the heart rate currently at 95 beats per minute. Let's see if we can force that a little bit higher and get him up over the 100 mark. Oh, hi Russ, how you doing?
Oh, I'm alright, mate.
How's the heart rate doing? It's still sitting at around about 90. That was, but that might be because there's a good chasing been going on at the back there, hasn't there? I mean, that was what we want to see. 3 or 4 people dropping back and bringing loads of people back on. Last of all was Mr. Richardson, who's trying to help everyone else.
Yeah, I was just hanging by the back, monitoring it all, watching the messages. So yeah, great job there. And now we're just listening to Matt Bostock's broken finger stories. So yeah, it's getting a gruesome gang, and it's I'm sure it's only going to be a trend for the last lap, really.
That's for sure. We're just coming up to the KEOM, and I think this is going to be interesting. Everybody's trying to push into that group, and it's still a big pack altogether at this stage. But we're still just coming out from town, aren't we, on the second of the laps? So there's still plenty of climbing to come.
Yeah, I just love it. I know all these guys must be listening to YouTube, and they're like, right, we'll get Russ's heart rate up. We'll just attack him at the top of the climb and put him out the back. All this fun.
Definitely. Well, they all need to give themselves a chance. I notice you've got some very light wheels on today. You've not gone for the disc or the deep rims just because of the volume of climbing. It's pretty unrelenting, isn't it? Because it's not really any flat. It's either downhill and you're chasing, or it's uphill and you're pushing hard.
Yeah, I think seeing that video on them Bromptons, I was like, right, I better choose my equipment wisely.
Well, that is it could take its toll. We're just seeing Kerr here, Andrew Kerr, just being distanced. Andrew, I think one of our newer riders. I don't remember Andrew being on the chain gang at the moment. Andrew just trying to work in from Epworth.
Yeah, you know, it's all getting a bit heart racy. I'm trying to message the snake at the same time.
Well, it's heading for dot to dot rather than a snake, so I think you better jump back in, Russ. We'll catch up with you later on. Good luck, mate.
Cheers, mate. I'll need it.
So great to hear from Russ on the gang there, and he's right in the middle of this mix at the moment. You can just see trying to push back in to the gang, and it's got his work cut out here, I think, because I think at the moment it is all over the place. They are scattered out on this climb. This is a climb up towards Struggle Corner at the moment. Plenty of time left. Remember, we've got the climb to the top of Struggle Corner. We then drop down from Struggle Corner, down in towards the base of Pot Bank, up Pot Bank, then drop back down, and then you've got that final kicker up over the top and in. But the gang all over the road at the moment, but coming back together on that climb. So looks like almost everybody back in the gang. Just going to take a little bit of a check at the back. It looks like our man from Epworth, Mr. Kerr, just diving off the back as Mr. Catley now sat on the back of the group here. So Catley just coming up on the wheels of Bobby Mason. Mason in this gang, just in the blue. Mason keeping those rows nice and high as he pushes on. Vin sitting with the red beacon about 52 seconds back, just closing in on Street. So Street is going to have Donahue pretty much on his heels pretty quickly. Here he comes. So Donahue and Street will be our back markers. Sandwiched in between will be the man from Epworth. And then we've got Catley just in the middle of the main pack. Good to see Tom Lindley back with us as well. Tom, you need to keep it nice and steady. Tom in the green and gold, one of our younger riders, and doing a great job as he is back in with the team. And if we zoom in, you can just about see pretty much everybody together. Just sitting with Karl Kopinski at the moment. So the man with the broken finger, Matt Bostock, just sitting on the front, just making sure he keeps the gang under control. Mr. Royals just on his side there. They're just rolling at 3 watts per kilo. And you just see Royals at the moment just going around the side. I think running just up the road at 2.5, just easing off there. And Conley, Fulton, Ferren, Varsi, pretty much everybody sitting in this gang. Tomlinson's in there, Sconton's in. Mr. Gibbons is in as well. Barry Kibler, good to have Barry back. Barry, of course, the organiser of the National Mountain Bike Marathon Championships up in Kielder, back on the bike on Zwift. Barry, one of the fastest old fellas about. He'd give me a run for my money any day of the week. Now, not all that long ago, he was beasting everybody on the national circuit, and you can just see the team coming up here. And it is almost all together as they come up over the top. Let's see the back of the gang making its way over here. So it looks like Crease, Lindley, Henderson's now over the top. Jackson is the back of the group at the moment. So the descent is coming. The gang are basically all together. This is our chasing group at the moment, trying to get on here. Beefy, Keith Richardson, Hayworth, Hayward on the back of the team. The team just about making a touch just in front. Verrill is the back of the pack at the moment. You can see behind Andy Verrill here, that gap has opened up to the riders behind. They've got to get that gap back down again. They're going to come charging in. You can just see top right hand side of your screen. The map shows we're coming in to the descent in towards the turns that are going to take us round onto a pot bank. Let's take a run up to the front of the gang if we can. Going to try and get a view down the road. Easier said than done at the moment, it has to be said. So let's get a rider's eye view on the way down here. You can just see Russ not all that far behind Mr. Varty here, and nobody can stay on the front for long, so the drop down and in, and here comes the hill. Here's the climb, and this is when things get really, really tough. 16% now on that section of climb, 15 as they come in, taking the right hand turn back up to 16%, and this is absolutely horrible when you hit it this hard. You can see everybody at the moment working hard here. It doesn't matter whether you are an ex-pro, a current pro, or should have been a pro, want to be a pro. We're the Lantern Rouge, should be the Lantern Rouge, and have always been the Lantern Rouge. You know that this is going to be horrible. The gradient is that steep. It is nasty, nasty, nasty place to be. So just watching Varty, and you can see just how steep this is. If we take a shoot across the side, you can see the riders at the moment here at 14%. Russ's Wahoo bike will be kicking him off the back. He'll be sliding off the back of the saddle. Hopefully he's out of the saddle at the moment, because at 14% that bike will be angled at 14 degrees. Sorry, 40% slope on it, just to give you the correct angle as you climb. And you can see the front of the gang just about all together behind riders, just starting to break up at the moment. So the gang aiming to stay all together at the minute, and it looks like it's just about managing it. 23k done. Let's jump in with Steve Hilbert here, Matt Bostock nicely in the pack, Jeff Cecil in here, looks like Chris Darby in the gang. Wimble's in there, Kieran Smith is in the mob, so Kieran right in here, Kieran in the flat cap at the moment. He's sitting almost on Russ's wheel here, so looks like Kieran just keeping a check on where everybody is. But you can see the back of the group just starting to fracture behind Kieran. If we take a little bit of a run up the road, only one or two bodies, and everybody really is feeling the pace. So just sat in with Kieran Smith in that flat cap, one of our regular fast riders, just watching the gang come through. Looks like Andy Hall's in the middle of this group as well. Darryl Tashulawala up in with the pack. It's just continuing to tick on at that sort of 3 watts per kilo mark. Just watching the middle of this bunch. People like John Garfoot able to roll a little bit lower because they're getting some assistance on the way through. Barry Kipling just pushing up a little bit. Crease and Ketteringham doing the same. So Langmead and Dr. D just making the way on here with Karl Kaplinski. It's about 6 seconds back, I think, to Mr. McLeod. McLeod just pushing into the back of that group as well. Big pack coming back together again. And the pace really is hot at the moment. Ian Taylor from 1080 just fighting to get on. Gibbons is on. Then it's a little bit of a gap to Osman. Osman with some work to do here. Then just looking back, it's going to be Goddard now at 24k done here. It looks like Mr. Coleman just working hard. Dan Ladle in this group. Rich Orrell in this group. Is it going to form another pack here? Bundy, Fulton, Mason, Finney. Tomlinson is in here. Scotland doing the same. Ferrens doing the same. Trying to chase Royals. Cannon looks like Briggs working hard here. Now I think we're going to see some more groups start to form behind the gang. So it looks like Ferren, Cannon, and Briggs are back here. 25 seconds up the road. The group containing a Fulton in here. So this is the pack that had left chasing the group in front, about 13 seconds up the road. Let's just try and jump in with Rich Orrell. Rich Orrell just at the moment just being distance a little bit. He's got Dan Lidl about 6 seconds behind him. The main pack back all together. And then we're going to have 1 lap to go when we hit the line this time. So apologies for the communication break. Just relaying a slight technical screw up on my part to Mr. Downing. It's a matter of counting backwards. I'm not very good at it. Definitely not on the amount of coffees I've had today, which is not enough. Fortunately, I've got some Grand Tour coffee in with me at the minute. So the main and the group are pretty much all together working the way up the road, up onto this final climb before the drop down towards the line. And next time round, looks like Neil from the Crosscast just drifted a little bit off the back of the pack. Needs to just kick on. He's got Osman behind him, Finney, and then it's Ladle, Bundy and Fulton. They've got about 1 second. It's about 9 metres on a climb like this to Mason. Scotland just coming up quickly, I think, here. So Scotland going on to the wheel of Mason. Tomlinson the same. Now, if these guys get together, they can push on this descent down, but they do need to work as a group. So it's about pushing over the top. If you're on the back of the group, get into a pack, form a group, make friends, not enemies, and chase together, and then it gives you a good chance of getting back on again. Briggs, a Cannon, and I think Sean Ferren are going to be in that same kind of boat as well. Meanwhile, behind looks like Donahue, along with Henderson, Jackson, Hayward, Verrill, and Street are all going to be getting together pretty quickly. Looks like man from Epworth Kerr just a little bit further back. Bobby Mason now just trying to chase on Rich Orrell. You can see how fast that gap is open going over the top here. Let's jump up to Neil on the Crosscast. Neil again just about sitting in there. So Tukey on there, and it's Tukey just pushing to try and stay on the wheels here. They are working hard, but the front of the gang is absolutely blisteringly quick down here. And you just see Kieran Smith at the moment on the back of this pack here with Richardson. Neil from the Crosscast trying to get on, and this is not easy. The pace that they're doing, 68 kph down here, is taking people out of the back. You can't afford to let the gap go, because the moment the gap goes, it is absolutely nailed wide open, and you end up in big trouble. But at the moment, the gang are working well together, coming down very quickly indeed. Nobody having to hit silly numbers on the front. The pace of the pack doing that for our riders. They're going to be into the left-hand turn, and then it's going to be 1 more lap to go here in Harrogate on the Harrogate Reverse on the Donny Chaingang. So around the turn that they come, they're coming in towards the gantry. This is the penultimate time. Next time they come round and see this gantry line up, they'll be coming in for the finish. So our riders down in and underneath the gantry. 2 laps complete. 1 lap left to go here on the Donny Chaingang of Russ Downing and Fonzie Bear, and the group holding it together. This pack are flying through here and absolutely nailing it as they come through the gang. Doing a great job. So remember, it's less than 1 lap to go. That was the dress rehearsal. Next up comes the real thing. Who is going to be able to take the honours and to get to the end? Well, it's a quick pack here. And Kieran Smith sat in the group, and you can just see Lindley at the moment and Richardson really fighting with the pace of some of our lighter riders. And the lighter riders always struggle on these fast downhills. We're just riding with Kieran Smith at the moment in with the pack. Kieran nicely positioned in this bunch, so we're going to just stick with him at the moment. Onto the right hand turn now, onto the small loop of the 2. So time for some quick OT for me. Keep me going, try and get my brain switched on a little bit more as we run into the finish. Just in with Billy No Mates at the moment. So Billy sat here with the hairdo on the go. It looks like Coos looks moving up around the side. Daryl Tatchell-Waller in the gang as well. Looks like Greg Pillsworth has made the this select cut. Remember, we haven't even had the signal from the main man yet. This is all just the appetizer on the run in, steadily building faster and faster. No, speak of the devil, here it comes. The go has gone. Now is the time when we get the signal, and it's on a tough part of the circuit here, because this is the climb up now in towards the sprint point. And if you are feeling the pace on the downhill, you are really going to feel it now, because the drag up, it drops a little here, but then we're quickly into the ascent once again. And this is the run up towards that sprint point. At the moment on the front, looks like Eddie Dench starting to put some pressure on the front. Phil Ozake doing the same. Andy Hawes in the pack here. So working well together at the moment, the gang. Just jumping in with Matt Bostock here. So Matt Bostock, that Canyon squad, sat in the group here. Not going to do too much work, hopefully. As we take a little bit of a look out at the side here. Let's get that camera up in the air. So Mason on the front. Looks like Bostock now coming up to the front of the group. He knows the go has gone. Can the pro take the win tonight? Can he ride away from them? He's going to have all of them. They all going to be looking out for him. He's got that map cap on. Map, of course, the challenge, the 4-stage challenge at the moment, but quickly closed down by young Mark Ketteringham. So is the 14-year-old going to give the pro a hard time? I think lining up for it is Mason, Kieran Smith, Shelley Charles right in the mix. Remember Charles, of course, finishing top 3 on the chain gang on occasion. Daryl Tatchell-Waller getting close. Could this be the course that he's right up there? You can just see nobody wants to let these gaps go. Everybody wants to be in this group. But at the moment, the pressure is on with riders drifting off the back of the group. Run it along with Conley and Dench at the moment in the danger zone at the back of that little trailing group, the tail of the comet, as they come in underneath the sprint. And once again, Bostock goes on to the front. He really wants this today. Let's see how he's going. He's got power-ups going on behind him. Has just seen a bit of a push there by Tatchell-Waller. Not doing too much. So Conley in there now. Conley's got that high-vis yellow, pink and blue kit on. Just tucked in behind Kieran Smith at the moment as we see run it now. Pushes on again now. Simon, one of our regular riders on the chain gang. Great to see. He's right in this mix as we're coming back down in towards Harrogate. Now the speed at the moment not as high as it was as in the big bunch, but it should pick up here. Remember, we're up at 68 kph on the run down here last time. 64, 65, here it comes. 67, 68. Are we going to top 70 kph? Take some doing. No, we're not. 69 as we come in to that turn. And now we're on the climb towards the KOM. Go over that red line and it signals that we are now on that climb. This is the KOM and this is where our riders can put in another dig. Don't forget, we still got hill after hill after hill to come. I'll see plenty of I'm cooked signs coming from the riders, and I think that is going to continue just the same. Now Ketteringham starts to stretch this out on the front here. Continues to keep this pushing. Remember, the youngster weighs next to nothing. He's really, really light. He's not some fat bloke in his garage pretending he's 55 kilos. He weighs not a lot at all. It's, you know, we're guessing about 35 kilos wet through. At the moment, certainly from his profile picture, so he looks like he should be in with a good shout on these climbs. But can he really make the difference here when power has to be consistent over a long time at the moment? Bostock on the front here at 6.8 watts per kilo up to 7.2. And they've got to respond to this. They cannot afford to let the DHB rider go. Can he get up in touch? They all know that this is the man to beat. Matt Bostock on the front here, keeping the power down, 7 watts per kilo on his heels. Mason in the black Kieran Smith with the flat cap on that green Tron bike. Daryl Tatchell-Waller in the orange cap and the orange bike. Russ Downing having to put in a massive effort here behind. 8.3 watts per kilo to get on. OZK run it. Jeffries and Conley distanced by that attack there by Bostock. And if we take a look behind Simon and Run It, they are out behind him in a long line as we come up towards the top of the climb. But this is the chasing pack as our leaders come up to the top. Are they going to make it round with a substantial gap? They are. I think they're going to be at about 11 to 12 seconds to come around that turn. So here we go. Kieran Smith goes over the top with the fastest time, blown away the KOM time, sub 2 minutes up there for Kieran as he came from the back of the group up to the front. So it's Bostock, Smith, Mason, Tatchell-Waller and Downing as they come down this descent with the lead on that chasing group behind, led over the climb by Runner. But Runner now in this group of riders, well, he sat about 26 seconds down on the leaders as they go into that descent. Don't believe the numbers. Russ is right in this group, as is Kieran Smith. The riders are behind it now, starting to try and chase that gap back down again. And you can see they are all over the road. So Simon run it just up the road. Then it's Conley being chased by Elliot Childs. Jeffries in there as well. Ketteringham just tucked in this group. OZK's in there. Looks like Billy No Mate's just distanced a little bit. He's got Varty coming up quick behind him, though. Here he comes. So Varty there with Dench and Taylor. Michael Hutchinson just behind Kusling. So then it's Sutcliffe, Clark, Dowtrey, followed by Kapinski, Small. Looks like Rob Wimble on another good ride here again. But the leaders up on to the climb. These are our leading 5 heading up towards the struggle roundabout. And behind them, the chasers, well, they aren't in sight at the moment. We're going to take a little bit of a look up here. As we go up in the air, you can just see Kieran Smith continues to push here and just sitting at 6 watts per kilo. He's trying to draw out the riders behind him. So he's got Mason for company. So it's Smith currently with a flat cap being chased by Mason, also all in black, but on the lighter bike and on the climbs. The red and grey frame of that lightweight tarmac frame, along with the melon slice, will be lighter than Kieran Smith's Tron bike. He'll be putting in less effort behind, though. Bostock, Downing and Tatchell-Waller have not let the gap go. But look at this, Kieran Smith continuing to push, the former National Hill Climber medalist. We say former, he's still only a youngster. However, he won it as that medal as a junior, so you can just see the gang now splitting. These are our leading 5. Tatchell-Waller now puts in a power up in terms of a van behind, trying to sit on Russ's wheel. Russ has got the aero engaged as well as they're coming up here. He wants to get in with the group. He was just in danger there. If we take a look at Russ, we normally talk about how low Russ's heart rate is. He's at 155 at the moment, so he's got a little bit left in reserve. If you watch this regularly, you'll know what Russ's limit is. Now we're just taking a look. Bostock on the front just eases back. They've dropped down to about 3.5 watts per kilo here, and that is that's not all that high for these riders. So it looks like Russ now picking up the pace as we come into the roundabout, into struggle roundabout we come. And at the moment, these are our leading riders taking that left-hand turn. Left-hand side going up to the front is Bostock, then it's Smith and Mason almost together as they go in pursuit. Downing now pushes on. He's going to come up to the front with a pace like that, then eases off again. So Russ it is who's just up at the front of this group, dropping down as the sun starts to set in Yorkshire. Tatchell-Waller in with this group. They're across the road here. They know coming up soon is that big kicker as we got Runner Elliott at 20 and Elliott at 22 seconds. 31 seconds back to Jeffries, 39 back to Dench and Ketteringham. But these are our 5 leaders at the moment. Who is going to be able to take this on and win? They're just dropping down in towards that big old climb, but they can just see there's a little kicker on the way in towards it. Well, looks like nobody yet prepared to work too hard. They know that they've got 20 seconds. These are the chasers. They can see that pillar of light in front is currently sitting at 20 seconds. According to one of our time checks, and I think that's not far wrong, judging by the distance. Jeffries not all that far behind Runner and Elliott. He's got Saysal chasing here with OZK, Dench, Taylor, Kettering and Varty. Just a little further back with Billy, no mates the same, but our leaders not going to be long before they're in to the steepest section of climb. Again, nobody pushing on too much. Russ just keeping the pace on, just a little bit of a push over the top to try and string him out a little, I think, by Kieran there, but not doing any serious damage at the moment. There we go, on to the climb. The big kick out from that corner, 60% around this right-hand turn here. Who's got the pace to go? Who's got the pace to really rip this apart? You can see Kieran Smith went up to 11 watts per kilo. He's now back up at 9 again. He's putting in his second kick here. So Kieran Smith at the moment doing the damage. Can he damage them enough? Remember, we've got a long run in. If he doesn't get a big enough gap, he's going to be in trouble. Tatchell Waller drifting back. He is going to be in the clutches of the riders behind, as is Bostock. Downing currently in third wheel. So it's Smith at the moment, then Mason, then Downing, then Bostock, then Tatchell Waller. Tatchell Waller at the moment has not got the gap on Elliott, and he's going to be seeing Elliott coming up on his heels and run it as well. But at the moment, Kieran Smith continues to push on at over 6 watts per kilo. This lightweight youngster currently making his way up here, looking good at the moment. Remember, trained on the hills around Derbyshire, and it looks like the Peak District hills were good practice, ready for this now. He's just eased a little bit here, and I think he's wanting a little bit of company on his run in. He doesn't want to go solo all the way to the finish, and look who's coming. The bear is on the way. So Mason at the moment just being distanced by Downing. Downing seeing the danger. He's trying to get across to Kieran Smith here, so he's not giving Kieran all his own way. In fact, he's going to come blasting past him. He puts an extra kick in there just to try and get the gap on Kieran. So an 8 watt per kilo kick from Russ as he came up alongside Kieran Smith, just to make life difficult, but Kieran responding to that. Downing now moderates the power as Kieran Smith gets back on the wheel, but the pair of them, they currently have 3 seconds on this man. This is Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist. He's got to get back on terms. Bostock is blown. Tatchell Waller is in pieces. He is well and truly in tatters. Elliott is distance runner. His distance. Jeffries is in pieces behind, so it is going to come down, I think, to a fight between these riders just up the road. So it's Kieran Smith in the black with the black Tron frame, the yellow wheels, the flat cap on. Russ Downing in here, but look at this. Mason is not giving up by any stretch of the imagination, and Mason has got back in touch with them. He's going to go straight over the top. No, he eases off a little bit. Now we have one more steep section of hillside and then a fast run down into the sprint. Who is going to take this out at the moment? It's Mason. Currently kicking out 3.5 watts per kilo, but you know these guys are capable of 10s, 11s, 12s, 13 watts per kilo comfortably. Well, not so comfortably, but certainly consistently, and we'll see if they can produce that again on the way down. The hills have been wearing these riders down. So our top 3 riders continue to push. The gap 43 seconds, just riding in with Mason at the moment. And these riders are certainly keeping it steady. Who is going to put in the attack? You can see the hillside is coming. So here we go on the run down. Currently getting the speed built up between these riders. Will it be Smith who goes on the attack first? Well, time to find out. Up on to the climb we come again. And would you want to tow Russ Downing and Mason to the finish? I wouldn't, but at the moment it looks to me like Kieran Smith is feeling confident here. They're going to be up over the crest of this hill very shortly. Keeps the pressure on those pedals, but Mason and Downing are answering this. And I think Russ has gone on the offensive here. Everyone was expecting to see him waiting for the sprint here. Well, do you know what? He's gone early and he's gone hard here, and he's tried to distance them coming in. He backs off the pressure now. Was that a false attack? Has he got anything left in the legs? Quickly up to 7.1. So Kieran Smith answering that. Russ Downing moves up. And Mason at the moment is sat at the back of these two, just taking his time about coming back. Is he saving something for later? Has he got anything left in the tank? Kieran Smith quickly again pushes up in the revs here. And yet again, Kieran Smith is the rider opening the gap on the rest of the riders here. They've got to get him back. They can't afford to keep on letting him get distance, because if he does, one of these days he's going to go and they're going to not be able to get back. You can see on the map, top right hand side, how far out we are. We're going to come in, we're going to do a 90-degree left hand turn, and when we do that, that gantry is going to appear very quickly indeed. At the moment, not in sight. The gap has opened. It says 3 seconds, but at the moment I don't think the Fat cyclist Gareth Mason or Russ Downing, they're both neither of them wanting to chase, and time will run out for them. So that gap up to 4 seconds. You can see what it is at the moment. It looks to me like Kieran Smith is working well here. He's sat at 3.8. Now Downing goes up to 8 watts per kilo. You can just see Downing coming behind. Has he left it too late? 3 seconds the gap. Will it come down? There's plenty of time, I think. It's got plenty of open road in front. Smith not having a panic here as Mason and Downing come over the top. They're coming in about 6 meters is the critical distance. And as we take a side view, 3 bike lengths have gone and they're back on Kieran Smith. So Kieran makes his way in. You can see the power of riding as a duo there. Not necessarily putting out more watts per kilo, but quickly getting on to the wheel of Kieran Smith. Now we're going to be able to see the left-hand turn come into view on the map. You can't quite see it from the rider's point of view. And these 3 riders, they are pretty much all together as they come down here. They're going to be taking the left-hand turn pretty soon. And there's nothing really to choose between them. So Mason in this group, Downing in here as well, as is Kieran Smith. Mason now moves up onto the front. He's got those watts per kilo are down. Have they managed to take the toll onto Mason? Well, here goes Russ Downing now. So let's take a little bit of a check. Russ has gone early here. We're riding in with Kieran Smith. Kieran is trying to answer this. Mason's got to give him something here. He's got to come back, but he's going to run out of time. Mason's at 14 watts per kilo. Kieran Smith is coming. Kieran Smith is coming. He's going to grab this with both hands. He takes it. Mason leaves it just too late with Downing coming through in 3rd place. And what a ride there. Kieran Smith in 1, Mason in 2, Downing in 3. Behind them though, this is going to be a real sprint here. Matt Bostock, he's got company in here. So Smith taking that sprint. Who's going to take this one? Are you going to take on Bostock? I've seen him in action in real life. He's super fast, but he might not even be able to hold the bars with 5 breaks to that finger. Let's see what he's got left. Simon Run It on the front of this trio at the moment, and Run It is who's holding this. Can we see a sprint out of them? Now Darryl Tatchell Waller goes to the front. He's going to take this. Does it go underneath the line? Tatchell Waller does the business there. He takes that sprint from Bostock and then Run It. Let's take a look back then for the next riders coming in. It's going to be Jeffries and Ketteringham. Just tech issues not letting us go back. Let's get back as fast as we can to see Ketteringham. Ketteringham comes in and through. So good running there by Ketteringham, just making his way in through the group. So our next rider in is going to be Taylor. So good riding there. Looks like Ketteringham, Elliott, OCK going through, Cesar coming through in that group. Taylor has a gap on Q-Slugs at the moment. So some good riding on the way, and by all these riders all making their way into that finish. Next through is going to be Taylor, so he's going to be our next rider through that finish. So Taylor goes through. Let's jump back to Varty here. So we're in with Varty. He's the rider on the front. But look at this. Big kick down from Michael Hutchinson. Hutchinson's trying to respond to the kick by Varty. The gantry is coming. Now, has he got enough? Has he got enough? He might have enough. He has. So look at that. Hutchinson ties it to perfection. Goes through over the top of Varty behind Billy No Mates at the moment, with a gap to the rest of the riders behind. I think he's going to be our next rider in and through the finish. He's got 27 seconds on Connolly and Dowtree. So Billy No Mates on the coast in at the moment. He's got 24 seconds on the chasers behind. They've got a little bit of a gap. So absolutely smooth. So let's watching those. Watch that kick comes in. A nice kick into the finishers. We're going to see our next sprint unfold now. Is it going to be Dowtree? Here he goes. Dowtree puts the kick in early. He's the man who's gone first here in the green and gold. Has he got enough to hold off Conley? Conley is up at 7 watts per kilo. But here he comes, and I don't think he's going to have enough to take him as we see Dowtree through. Then it's Conley behind him. Carl Kopinski rolls it in through the line as Darby comes through chasing them. Richardson, Barry Kipling just making his way through. He's got to be our fastest of our older riders. It's Catley and Sutcliffe, followed by Shelley Charles. Great stuff. Then it's Pillsworth and Clark. Rob Wimble makes his way under the gantry. He's got about 13 seconds back to Hilbert and Dix Moore. Now, who's going to take it of these two? Who's going to have the pace? Who's going to have the kick at the end? Is anybody going to have anything left as they come in to the finish at the moment? Hilbert now gets out of the saddle. He's up over 7 watts per kilo, nearly 8 watts per kilo to just take it that time from Samul behind. I think it's going to be between Mont and Dubash. Oh, Dubash just takes that from Mont. Then it's going to be Neil from the Crosscast, our next rider on his way in, being chased here by Bundy and Tukey. So Neil should have this fairly clear. They're about 6 seconds behind, just rounding that corner now. So it should be Neil from the Crosscast. Looking forward to our next season of the Crosscast. I've lost count. I think it's our 5th season of the Crosscast podcast as Neil makes his way in towards the line. He's being chased here, and Tukey just ahead here of Bundy. So it's Tukey in the red taking it from Bundy behind, and then it's going to be Carl Johnson. Another great ride by Carl Johnson. He's going to come through just ahead of John Garfoot. And Garfoot with the gap on Andy Hawes. So John Garfoot from the Royal Navy Royal Marine Cycling Association comes in through the finish. We're going to drop back quickly to Andy Hawes. So Andy on a bit of a horse tours at the moment, on his way back in now, sitting at 2.2 watts per kilo after that hard early session on his way in. So Andy, of course, out on the road for a prolonged period, out on the tour of Britain recon stages, and Andy definitely going to have journey legs for a few days yet. So I think he's just making his way in now. As Andy goes in, this is the next chasing group. They're on that long run in, and this has got some real names in here. Mr. Crease in here. Looks like Ian Taylor in the gang here as well. So Taylor it is who's leading them down here. Crease in this. Langmead in the team as well. Coleman looks like a little move there from Coleman. He got caught out by that split. So Coleman in the yellow and black. Then it is going to be Ian Taylor in the grey, black and orange, just coming over the top. Here is Crease in the grey on that light blue bike. Here's a come around the corner. Ted in the green. Is Ted going to take this? Is it going to be Ian Taylor? You can see everybody is really pushing for the line here now. Crease has gone early. Teddy's coming with the sprint behind him. And I think Teddy's going to try and close down on Crease. So at the moment, it is going to be Crease who should be taking this as it comes to the line. Crease takes it. Then it's Ted behind him. Langmead, then Coleman. And then it is Ian Taylor, a man from 1080. Next in, this is the run in between Orrell and McLeod, and Orrell puts a boot in here. Oh, just see that taking it from the lone rider there. Then it's going to be James McLeod, our next rider towards the line. So McLeod with the riders a fair way back behind him as he comes in underneath the gantry. Then it's going to be Osman. So Osman on next. Right, he's got a little bit of a gap to Andy Scotland by the look of it. So Osman goes in underneath the gantry there. And then it's going to be Andy Scotland and Mr. Fulton. So let's have a little look here. Yep, no woman in sight. Nobody at all in sight, I think, at the moment with Scotland. Dave Fulton's the nearest rider at 10 seconds behind him. But Andy Scotland's going to be into that left-hand turn. Another of our regulars on the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. So Andy on his way around that left turn. You can see that gantry in front of him. He knows how far he's got to go. It's not going to be long before he's in and on to the line. So here we go, out of the saddle for Andy Scotland. Massive kick as he comes in here. He's going to push all the way in to the line. Here he comes. The gantry comes up as Scotland comes through. Good ride by Andy Scotland there. Mr. Fulton's going to be our next rider in, just using that power up to get it used up before he hits the line. He's going to come through about 34 seconds clear of Dan Ladle. Dan just coming into that left-hand turn. This corner Dan will know well. Dan from north of Leeds, just coming into that left-hand turn from Garforth, actually, originally. If I remember right, Garforth or Kippax. So just got to put my brain in gear to tell you exactly where it was. One or the other. Northeast Leeds, easiest way to describe it. So Dan Ladle on his way in, and then it's going to be Mr. Mason. So Bobby Mason chasing hard. Dan Ladle on his way in towards the line, currently kicking out 133 watts. Let's see if he's going to get a kick into the finish from Dan. Always had fast legs. I think they may be feeling a little bit less sharp as they come in to the finish after today's ride. But good to see Dan back on the chain gang. Bobby Mason's going to be our next rider heading in towards the line here. So Bobby pushes in through Harrogate in towards the finish here. And it's going to be Bobby Mason after a good recovery from early on. He's going to come in ahead of Briggs, I think, at the moment. So Bobby Mason through, just clear of Briggs. So Carl Briggs will be our next rider to the finishing line. Briggs for 25 seconds on street. 46 to Ferron, then there'll be a little bit of a gap back to Jackson, Donahue and Kerr, which means we'll try and jump into Russ in what's going to be approximately about 45 seconds time, fingers crossed. So here we go, Carl Briggs on his way to the line into the finish. Here comes through, time to ease off those pedals. Just being chased all the way here by Scott Street. So Scott working hard into the finish, comes round that left-hand turn around the roundabout. He does have Sean Ferron behind him. Ferron's got a big kick, but he can't make up 18 seconds, I don't think. Just seeing Street on this run into the finishes in underneath the gantry here very shortly indeed. So here he comes. Street comes through. He comes through just ahead of Sean Ferron. Ferron is going to have a big kick here, I'm sure. So Ferron goes in, and Lindley's going for him here. Lindley is behind him, but I think it is going to be Sean Ferron in here. But Lindley's coming. Lindley's pushing on hard here. Is Lindley going to get Ferron? He does. Oh, now that's going to turn up for the books between Lindley and Ferron. So big difference between them. Now Jackson, Donahue and our man from Epworth, it's going to be Kurt in the distance. So let's see if we can get hold of Russ, who hopefully has done some recovery prior to the phone call, because he was working hard all the way in there. So just watching Tim Jackson on this descent, and looking pretty smooth. Let's see just how smooth the bear is at the moment. Russ, how are you doing?
Pretty smooth, yeah. I've got 300 metres more to go, and I've just stopped pedalling then, so yeah, quite smooth.
Excellent, excellent. That's what we want to see. So that was pretty aggressive riding towards the end there. Kieran Smith kept on kicking and kicking and kicking. You kept on responding and really making him work for it. And Mason was just sat there hovering, and you could never discount him either.
You know, we were having a play really there, and it's good fun, you know. I think we dropped Bostock and Darrell on that last climb, and you know, I know what happened there with Bostock. He'd have been like, holy moly, why are these boys going so hard? And he's like, lost the wheel, and then that was that. You know, he's obviously recovering from an injury, but you know, thanks for him being up the front and having a go with us, and yeah, laying it down at times. It was great fun.
Yeah, definitely, and he did a great job of mixing it up to say he's got a busted up finger. You know, I wasn't expecting him to sprint. It's going to hurt when you pull on the bars. As soon as that finger gets damaged, but he did okay on the climbs to hold the wheels. Just seeing Tim Jackson come through, so another of our newer riders in here. So Jackson comes in and through the line, and Vin Donoghue, the Red Beacon, doing the business here with Mr. Kerr, not all that far behind him either.
No, you know, they're all. I think say it works better that course. You can regroup, I think, a bit more. You know, it's not always uphill. You have to straight out at the start. And then you've got the steep kicker, and then you can cruise back to town. And that was a good final. That I remember it last time we were there. There was like 2 or 3 groups all within 10, 12 seconds of each other. They were nearly catching each other, so it works really good. I see that a few riders came up to that second group that Bostock and Darrell TW with them, didn't they? So yeah, that was all good fun. I'm sure everyone loved it.
Yeah, definitely, and I have to admit, I think it is much better as a chain gang that way around. And our last 2 riders just on the way in towards the line. I think Kerr's just going to pop his way through just in front of Finn Donoghue there. So, Russ, recovery time, where are we on Thursday?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll take that as the sign you actually worked really hard today.
No, I did actually. I think it was yesterday. I thought, actually, where are we? I did the links 2 weeks ago.
Do you want me to tell you? You're in Deuce Front, so a real sprinter's stage, that's for sure.
We had that phone call earlier, didn't we? We mentioned out and back, and I was just thinking, then are we going out and back? Are we going out and back? No, that's the week after, I think. But,
it is indeed. So, yeah.
Deuce France, which 50k, isn't it? Which is the sprinter's stage.
Yep. Definitely, last 14k and run into the finish is flat. So if anybody's broken away, good luck. If you've got a group chasing you, that's definitely going to be the case. So Russ, we'll let you get some recovery done. Thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, and yeah, thanks a lot, gang. Up, you enjoyed it. Great numbers there, great behaviour on the first couple of laps, and there's some great teamwork going backwards to get people back on that had dropouts and things, or people who were looking after each other. And first 2 laps is getting such a pleasure to lead, and I actually enjoy the last lap more when it's like that. I can actually give it someone. I'm not absolutely nailed from going backwards and forwards on the messenger, on this and that. So well done, chapeau.
Excellent stuff. So cheers, thanks to Russ. That was great stuff, and we are going to leave our man out there. That is Mr. Donoghue just warming down to the Blue Beacon, and well done to Vin. And a massive thank you to everybody who's out and riding as a Beacon, well, volunteer riders. So we're going to let him warm down. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday when we'll be bringing you more action. This time we're going to be in Deuce France. We're going to be riding the stage that was our sprinters stage, stage 2 of the Tour de France tribute on the Donny Chaingang. But for tonight, from me, Matt Payne, from Russ, and from Finn, our 2 beacons, enjoy the next couple of days. Do some recovery. We'll catch you soon on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel for the next Donny Chaingang.